Hello everyone, and welcome to Vesper Gaming. Today we're going to be going over a new Warlock build. Now, I've been using this build pretty nonstop, and I gotta say, I absolutely love it. This build is none other than the Warlock Stasis class with Vesper Radius exotic chest armor. Now, I know other content creators out there that are utilizing this combo, but this is my personal take on it. Now, first off, let me say this is purely a PvE build that can support heal, crowd clear, deal out massive amount of damage, and regenerate abilities and supers extremely fast. For PvP, as a Warlock, I tend to favor either Arc or Solar subclasses, as unfortunately this build falls a little short in PvP due to the need for hordes of enemies. That's not to say that Stasis is bad in PvP because it's far from it. I'm purely referring to this specific build. That being said, for PvP builds, I will be covering that in another video. So, if you're looking for a Gambit build, a build for open world activities, dungeons, or raids, this may very well be the build for you. As I mentioned previously, we are going with the Warlock Stasis class Shadebinder. In our ability slots, we're going to be using the following. Healing Rift. With the help of our aspects and mods, we are going to continually heal as we deal out damage and allow us to safely rush in or tank numerous amounts of enemies. For our jump, we're going to use Strafe Glide. Now, this is purely optional. It's really what you're most comfortable with. I'm going to use Strafe Glide, but again, this is purely up to you. In our next slot, we're going to be using Penumbral Blast. At the moment, this is our only option, but what a great option it is because it allows us to freeze from afar. In our grenade slot, we are going to use Dusk-Filled Grenade. This is a bit of a preference as well, but I use it because I feel like it synergizes better with what we're trying to accomplish in this build, by allowing us to draw enemies in closely, freeze them, while we rush in and shatter them with our Rift. Now, if you don't have the exotic, you can still do this, but use your melee instead. For our aspects, we have two. First, we have Frost Pulse. That's going to cast a shockwave when we use our Rift, freezing nearby enemies. And then two, we have Ice Flare Bolts. That tracks and freezes additional targets after shattering the initial ones. For our fragments, we're going to be using Whisper of Refraction, Whisper of Bonds, Whisper of Fissures, and Whisper of Shards. What these are going to do is allow us to get our class ability, Grenade, and our super back faster while we increase the damage and size of our blast when destroying stasis crystals or frozen targets. Now, if this already sounds like an amazing build to you, you're right, it is. So now let's make this even more ridiculous by adding Vesper of Radius. Now, a slight disclaimer here, Bunchley is currently working and altering this armor piece due to some players finding a glitch that breaks the intended function of the piece. They've been exploiting it. So my hope is that they only fix the bug that allows this and don't destroy an otherwise great exotic. Now getting back to it. This exotic armor chest piece does two things for us. One, it sends out a shockwave when casting our rift, and two, it refills our class ability when enemies are nearby. What this essentially does is allows us to shatter our frozen enemies more effectively. While it won't kill higher tier enemies, it will still take a massive amount of health from them, allowing us to easily clean up that kill with a weapon. Now, if you don't yet have the exotic armor, fear not. It's a random drop from any exotic engram, including the ones from your seasonal pass. And also, it can be sold by Xur. So simply get out there, grind, visit Xur when he's available, and get the exotic. Okay, so far this is a pretty great build, but if I just stop there, I feel like it would still fall a little bit short. So let's add some mods and really amp this build up. For my mods, I'm going to be using a Warmind build. You may be saying to yourself, well, hey, Vez, I'm a new light player. I don't have these, or I never picked them up during the season that they are from. Never fear, I was the same way. If you follow me on Twitter, I'm always putting out the rare mods available at Banshee44 when he does sell them. So by all means, follow me on Twitter, and when they become available, you'll know. Or if you're lucky enough to be able to play every day, simply stop by Banshee44, see what he has to offer, and hopefully he'll have the mod that you're looking for. At the moment, this is the only way to get these mods, so when they become available, don't miss out. What's that? You don't want to wait for these mods? That's okay too. All these do is enhance what the build already does. So you can actually sub them out for maybe more of a defensive build that focuses on your stats. Maybe you want to focus on a Charge of Light build. The choice is really yours. I'll always say, just do what makes you stronger. Now, getting back to the build. The Warmind mods and additional mods to take note of here are, starting with our helmet, Radiant Light. This is going to give us plus 20 strength, which is going to allow us to get our melee back faster. And then also when we cast our super, it's going to imbue our party members with light. And then also we're going to equip Hands On. This is going to give us super energy when we do get those melee kills. Next on our hands, we're going to be using Global Reach. This is going to allow us to damage enemies at a greater radius. On our chest armor, we're going to be using Blessing of Rasputin. Collecting a Warmind cell increases the chance that your next final blow with a Seraph weapon will create a Warmind cell. And then we're also going to add melee damage resistance. This is going to allow us to take more damage from those thralls or minor enemies that are rushing us. On our legs, we're going to use Strength of Rasputin. Collecting a Warmind cell is going to grant us melee energy. Additionally, we'll use Invigoration, reducing the melee cooldown each time we pick up an Orb of Power. So when we create an Orb of Power, or our party members do, and we run over it, we lower our melee cooldown. On our class item, we're going to use Thermal Overload. This is going to allow solar and stasis grenades to cause disruption, delaying the ability regeneration and lowering the combatant damage output. And as it says, it's strong against overload champions. This is going to stun them, allowing us to move in and get that kill. Next is Distribution. This is going to reduce all ability cooldowns when using our class ability near enemies, and we're going to be doing that a lot. Lastly, we have Power of Rasputin. This is going to allow us to gain a bonus to weapon damage against enemies that are near Warmind cells. So simply all we have to do is just leave the Warmind cell there, and the enemies will take increased damage. Now, putting all of that together, we mainly want to be rotating through our abilities, as that's what this build is meant to do. The Warmind cells are there to help us pick up the slack and make up for when we have a lack of enemies around. Taking this a step further, we can also switch out one of our Warmind mods for one that heals all party members. So if you want to play more of a supportive role, you could use something like the Lumina hand cannon and turn your Warlock into a DPSing healer. From here, it's all about weapon choice, but I will say that with this build, there's one specific weapon you need to have, and that is going to be either an Ikelos weapon or a 7th Seraph weapon. My recommendation for this particular season is going to be the Ikelos SMG, specifically with Seraph rounds and Demolitionist perks. This is going to synergize well, as you can also use from your seasonal artifact anti-barrier rounds with SMGs, and those can be equipped on your arms, making this a nice addition and just continuing to help make our build stronger. I hope you guys have enjoyed this build. Get out there, use it. Let me know in the comments below if you do enjoy it. Once again, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave us a like and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. Also, if you want more content, please follow us on Twitch and Twitter for more updates and streams. I appreciate all your support. And as a bonus for making it this far, I'm going to leave you with some video of this build in action. Take care and enjoy.